I'm Katie Kempner, and we're here at Advertising Week at the WebMD interview stage, and this is an episode of Perspectives. Perspectives is a series of inspiring conversations with remarkable working women who are leading busy and successful lives, and it is my pleasure right now to have my good friend, Julie Thompson of Julie Thompson, Inc. Welcome.
Thank you, Katie. What a pleasure. What a pleasure.
Thank you for stopping by. So I want to just jump in a little bit and talk about Julie Thompson, Inc. and what it is that you do.
Yes. Well, I have a business. It's basically an industry relations business where I help startups engage with Madison Avenue and marketers. So all their go-to-market positioning, et cetera. So many startups, especially in the digital and tech and media space, are trying to get attention from agencies and marketers, and so I help them kind of break through the clutter and connect at the right touch points across the whole advertising landscape.
So, but now, you started this 8 years ago?
8.5, yep.
8.5 years ago. And before that, you had had a relatively traditional career trajectory, working at big agencies. It's a risk to go off and start something.
Yeah, well, it just seemed like absolutely the right time. I had this great network in the ad business, and I saw what all the publishers were doing to court the agencies, and I realized that I could do that from the outside. So I sort of modeled the business after what Yahoo and Microsoft and Google were doing, building these industry relations units, and I did it from the outside, and it's been fascinating and really fun.
Well, one of the things about you, and we have been friends for many years and worked together many different times, is that you have this amazing network of people and that you're really a connector. And I think you bring so much value to the table based on who you know, which is something that many people aspire to do. Can you just talk a little bit about the value of that and how that came to be?
Yeah, well, it probably started when as a very young little person. They used to call me phone girl growing up, and I was the one whose other parents would call our house to find out where their children were, because I always seemed to know where they were. So it was just always has come very naturally to me, and I think I'm a very social person. But the key to being a connector in the advertising business is not only just to make introductions, anyone can do that, but to actually make projects happen and make real work happen. And I think I bring a lot of value to my clients because not only do I connect disparate people and projects together, but I get real results for them. So I think it's sort of an art and a science.
There's another key to it, though, which is something you've mentioned before, and we've talked about before, and it's something that a lot of people don't slow down enough to do, which is the spirit of generosity. That is something I think that's lost a lot in this constant, rushing around to do anything. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Right. Well, I mean, I think, one, we can all be better listeners. And the other night, I was so annoyed because I was trying to get a friend of mine's attention at an event, and it was like he couldn't hear me, but he was engaged in a conversation, and he was listening so intently to the person that he couldn't hear anything around him. And I thought, that's why we love him, because he actually focuses. And so I do think slowing down, listening, and being more caring. Last night in an event, I think my whole week was made. Someone came up to me and said, "You got me my job." And I thought, I barely even remember making those phone calls on her behalf. But the fact that, but I had, and she absolutely deserved the job, got a great position, but that was more gratifying to me than anything, that I was able to help someone, get to the next big thing. So anyway.
And that's also really networking, because I think a lot of people think of networking as, I need to go to this event where I don't know anyone, I'm going to give out my card, or or share my contact information and see how many people I can meet. And I always find that to be a colossal waste of time. I've never done it, and I don't like to. We have events we go to a million events in our industry, but that kind of networking, I think there's a thing to learn about a deeper level of networking that's much more valuable.
Well, it is so hard for so many people to do this. I mean, I think you and I are naturally social beings, and it does not come naturally to people. Half of what I do is coach clients in how to be active conference participants, active engagers on the ad scene. It's really hard to do, and I think that you do have to be sort of conscious going into it. But the key is, if you're not good at that, recognize it. Do great follow-up. Follow-up is the key, I'm telling you. If you can take a tidbit from a conversation and refer back to it in your thank you note or by sending someone something. Our friend Maggie Mead from Sibling Rivalry Productions, she's fantastic. I'll never forget this. We were in Cannes, and I mentioned part of the Iconoclast series for Sundance Channel that they had produced. And I mentioned one episode of it and how amazing it was. I got back to my office on the Monday after Cannes, and a CD of that episode had been messengered to my desk from Maggie Mead, from a conversation in Cannes. No doubt rosé infused, that she remembered. So follow-up can be magic.
And Maggie Mead is amazing. Just
she is, but I'm telling you that follow-up.
But I mean, that is an excellent piece of advice, and I think where people often fall short is they don't do that one extra thing. They have good intentions, but you go back from wherever you were. You have all, you mean to, but you just don't. You get caught up in things.
Right.
And so, I mean, I think one of the problems people have, though, when they're going to events and they're, then they're working, is there's no, and not just going to events, I don't know why I say just that, there's no downtime. You're always on. You're always on. With your clients, you're always expected to get back to your clients right away. That leads to not a lot of work-life balance. Right. So I was hoping we could talk about that a little bit. I know you've said you don't love that term, work-life balance, but can we talk a little bit about what you do to try to balance things?
Well, I think balance is an artificial construct at this point. That in our world, in this always connected world, as human beings, no matter where you are, but especially in the U.S., because I think we're going down a very bad path of being connected 24/7. We sleep with our devices. We have to be in touch. Look at certain workplaces that penalize you for not getting back within an hour with a response. I think we're going down a bad path, and I think balance is really kind of, what does that even mean anymore? But one trick I have, I mean, I thankfully get a lot of energy from our industry and from the people in our industry and going to all of these events and things, but I also have a lot of interests and hobbies outside of work, architecture, photography, interior design. I'm actually starting a little side cottage business that has to do with interior design.
Of course you are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really a frustrated decorator inside. But I think it's really important to keep pursuing those hobbies. And if you can do it inside and outside of work, some of the best photographs I've ever taken have been on work trips in other countries. And, so I think you have to take a little bit of time to feed your soul that way.
Do you think, I talk to a lot of mothers, and so at that point, one of the things that's keeping them from balance, or whatever word you want to talk about how you construct your life, is their kids. Do you think that sometimes because you don't have children that it's even harder for you to balance things?
Oh my God, no. I know. I think all the credit in the world goes to working moms and dads and single moms and single dads. Like, if you don't have kids, it's a whole different ballgame. And our lives are inordinately easier. I don't care what we do. I mean, to have these little beings running around that you're responsible for and their schedules. And I mean, I give all the credit in the world to parents. So I kind of think, I'm in an airport and I see strollers and I just think, oh, I'm nice I have it, really.
I do too now that my kids are big.
Yeah. So,
so
I don't know how parents do it, working parents. And I think all of us in the workforce, yes, it's not my problem that you have to take your kid to the pediatrician, and skip out on work early. But I think we should all help each other. And, hey, if I need to go to that interior design event that interests me and I have to skip out of work an hour early, support me in that too. But I think we all need to be accommodating, especially to working parents.
you've been able to construct a life for yourself in a way that really suits you and suits what you're interested in. And I think so many people, especially younger people today, are open to the different possibilities and ways of figuring out a life that makes sense for them. And maybe, and not necessarily saying, okay, I'm just going to go get a job.
Right.
But it's
well,
really
they're
hard to do.
demanding it. They're demanding it.
They're
They're saying
demanding
if
it.
they're not happy in their job, they're going to get out in 10 months. And I think we all have to learn how to work better with younger people, and especially millennials. And hey, if you have to have a meeting in a park with your client, while he practices his drone, flight path, you have to do it. And I think that keeps us all kind of on the cutting edge anyway, and learning new ways of working. And I can talk go-to-market positioning while someone has a drone flying overhead, sure. But I think the younger generations, plural, are demanding better workplaces, better ways of working, more flexible ways of working.
Yeah.
And we're in a gig economy. We're in an on-demand worker economy. Look what Gina Hadley and those guys are doing with the second shift, helping working women go back to work. And I mean, in flexible, non-traditional ways. And it's the way of the future. So I think we all have to embrace it.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So just to wrap up, if there's one piece of advice that you could share with us that has helped guide you through your life, what would it be?
Probably never take no for an answer. And if the answer really is no, at least get a maybe or get a little something. But I'm not a self-limiting thinker. I always think anything is possible. And I think a lot of people and women sometimes they expect the first answer to be no, and I always expect the answer to be yes. And if it's not yes right away, it will be. It will be soon.
It will be yes.
So, yeah, don't be self-limiting. Go to yes.
Go to yes. Oh, that's a great place to end. Thank you so much, Julie.
Love you. Thank you.